first year at Warner Brothers, but we're here at the Aputure booth, and today we're going to talk about all the new gear. Today we're talking about the INFINIBAR 4-light kit. We're talking about the 600C Mark II. We're going to talk about some INFINIMAT upgrades, including a release date for when those are coming out. And then we're also talking about Sidus Link Pro. We have a whole virtual setup right now that's being lit with Sidus Link Pro. So if you are watching this live stream, tune in, let us know where you're tuning in from. I'll do some comments at the end as well too. And then finally, if you're watching this on YouTube, we're going to do a full walkthrough of all the products now. So, how are we feeling? You think we're ready to start?
Yeah, we'll start.
Okay, let's do this. All right, so starting off with the INFINIBARs 4-light kits. So, what are the INFINIBARs, right? So basically, a lot of times in the past, we've been asked, Aputure, when are you going to make your tube lights? When are you going to make tube lights? When are you going to make tube lights? Basically, here's the thing. When we do Aputure, our goal is we make our ecosystem, but we want to make sure that we improve upon every form factor that we design. So, number one, the biggest requirement that we've been asked for with tube lights is a lot of the time we see people designing them, either using them with set deck or they're using them for actual builds to build crazy shapes from music videos and things like that. With the actual bar shape, the problem is there's two things. Number one, when you have bars and you attach them together, you don't get a seamless flow of color that goes across the entire unit. So number one, we use INFINIBARs with end-to-end caps that allow for a seamless transition of color to make sure that when you light these things, you do not actually see that seam in between. Number two, by actually having them as an actual bar shape, you can now stack the lights together, and now you can actually get a seamless line going upwards as well too, which is why they are called INFINIBARs. The idea is being that you can take 1 foot, 2 foot, and 4 foot bars, you can span them infinitely in any direction and expand them infinitely up as well too. For virtual production people out there, for people out there that are trying to build a light shape of any design, this means that you can actually build any modular shape, create any design you want, and build these out. Think about them like Legos, like filmmakers. Now, these are fully RGB tunable, right? Fully Sidus Link controllable. And you can actually do pixel effects design in Sidus Link as well. But the new thing that we're showing off today is we're showing off the INFINIBAR 4-light kit. This is important because the INFINIBAR 8-light kit already exists, but for a lot of people out there, they want something that's affordable with just one person to be able to take on the run. This is a kit that is less than half the weight of an 8-light kit. We're using a full resin case here. We've actually packed everything in a more condensed form factor. So this is the 2-foot 4-light kit. We also have a 4-foot 4-light kit. Both of these can be handled with one person. These are 40 pounds and 50 pounds respectively. And these can actually be taken with, in addition to new connectors. So these are right here, a couple of the passive connectors along with our new power adapter control mods. This is a 330 watt power adapter. In the previous INFINIBAR kit, the 8-light kit, we use the actual case of the power adapter. By separating this, we actually make the entire kit a little bit lighter and easier to use. But also, this INFINIBAR 1-light kit means that you not only have single power adapters that can power your INFINIBARs one at a time, right? We have these right here. But you also get things like the larger power adapter. That basically means that you can actually connect up to 20 1-foot INFINIBARs all in one closed loop, so you can build any shape you want. So if you're thinking about designing a light shape, you want to build like a web, right? At IBC, we showed like a Spider-Verse web of INFINIBARs growing out. If you want to build a huge display or a cross or something, I don't know what you're trying to build here. Any shape is possible, so you can use these LEGO designs and use less power adapters to build and funnel the entire system. So these are INFINIBARs, super excited about them. They are more affordable than ever, they are lighter than ever, they are easier to pack, and now you actually get more shapes and ways to play with passive and active connectors, in addition to the power adapter, and we also have a V-mount battery adapter as well too. So you can power this on hardwire plugins, you can power this on internal built-in batteries, you can build any shape, and now of course you can also use battery V-mount batteries as well too. So, right over here we're talking about the LS600C Mark II. So, previously we had the LS600C. We know about this light because it's really the standard as far as point source color goes. Now, we like point source lights because, well, number one, we introduced them to the industry, right? Point source lights with an interchangeable modifier on the front, which means that your point source light, that's your hardest light on set, can now be a Fresnel, it can now be a soft light, it can now be a soft box, it can now be a lantern, any shape you want. It's entirely designable in these point source interchangeable mount accessory, right? This is our style that we built here. Now with the LS600C Pro, we did two things. Number one, we made this entirely fully color tunable, right? And the second thing is that we made it weather resistant. Now, with the LSC600C Pro II, we get two new upgrades here. Number one, we have actually optimized the chip-on-board LED. It is now 85% brighter with the built-in Fresnel. In addition to that, if you use a regular softbox or bare bulb, you now get 35% additional brightness. And then finally, on top of all of that, before we had weather resistance, now we're actually certified IP54 rain, so you can take this into the snow, into the rain. And if you're going onto Dune where they use their lights and you were in the desert and you were worried about dust and sand flying around, if you are in the tropics, if you're in Amazon rainforest, Again, we've seen people take Aputure lights to the craziest places in the world. This will be no problem there. We're making sure this is weatherproof and sealed for you. So the LSC602, this is just launched, along with the INFINIBAR floor light kit. Okay, moving on over here to the INFINIMAT area. This is a big hall area that is actually being lit by a 20 by 20 INFINIMAT up there in the air. So at NAB, we showed this light here. Basically what we're showing off is the INFINIMATs are basically a matte style light. Matte lights can be really big. They can also be really small. Now, why do we like matte lights in the first place? Okay, so we love the point source light, right? Because the point source light can be changed into any modified shape, right? A Fresnel, a softbox, a Lancer, a dish, anything we want. A lot of the time, though, we want soft light, but we don't want the depth of the softbox, right? Or a lot of the time we want soft light, but we don't want to have to back off diffusion off of our actual light fixture. So to actually fix that, one of the ways that we can do it is we can get the thinnest possible amount of light and the softest quality of light by, you get that same quality from a softbox using something like a matte light. Now, we've already, as you can see, made one improvement upon a lot of matte lights out there in the industry. And one of the biggest complaints about matte lights is that they're not really built super rugged. It's a fabric light. This real quick, again, rental rugged. We have designed this entirely IP65 weatherproof. This is built to be rugged, and we've designed them in pre-designed shapes here, the smallest size being a 1x2, meaning that you can fold and stack these lights so they're packed and easy and ready to go. These are full, yes indeed, as you guessed, RGB tunable, right? So I can pick any color in the rainbow here, and I can dial all of that in. So we're gonna go through, and I think I'm gonna come right back to an Aputure. Actually, I like this from the cyan blue. It's pretty good. We'll start there. You know, a little warm, cool effect going on. INFINIMATs, not only are we showing all the shapes here, we're showing off the inflatable diffusion that you guys have seen before already. Inflatable diffusion basically being, why are we thinking inflatable in the first place, right? Number one question I get asked. Inflatables are not new to this industry for a lot of people that know out there. Again, air balloons have existed forever. The reason why we use the inflatable diffusion here is because of two main reasons. Matte lights are great because they're small, they are soft, they are thin, but you get two main problems with them. Number one, they're a rag, which means that if you want to assemble them, you need a frame that you have to build. That takes time. Number two, they add weight if you're adding a frame. And if you think about something, especially like the 20 by 20, we're talking about building an entire frame, an entire light box, where you need not only a frame to hold the actual light mat itself, but you also need another frame to hold the diffusion that hangs off of the actual matte light itself. So, inflatable diffusion solves this in two ways. Number one, it's the fastest possible setup of any frame out there. You can inflate it. The smallest size inflates in 7 seconds. The larger size is inflated in under a minute. These not only inflate, so they have the fastest build, but because they're inflatable, they are the lightest possible design. And then finally, because we have actually been able to pre-space the diffusion off of the actual LEDs themselves, this means that yes, we have the thinnest possible design while also masking all of the LEDs. So we pre-designed this in here so that you don't have to do the work of measuring how far does your diffusion have to be off of it. And then finally, I think the biggest thing about inflatable diffusion that we like here is that when you think about a lot of matte lights out there, one of the biggest problems is that because they're fabric lights, they tend to sag a little bit. So when you think about even something as small as a 4x4, when you build that frame, you'll get that little drooping effect from the matte light. With inflatable diffusion, that is no longer a problem. You build this up, you break it up, and guess what? There's no sag whatsoever. You have consistently soft light in any shape and design. And by the way, if you don't want the inflatable diffusion, which again we like, and this entire thing adds frame, you can now carry your soft light. We do also have standard diffusion as well too. So if you want to use standard diffusion, again, not only do we have an Aputure matte light that is rental rugged, full RGB, weatherproofed, but it is also available in all the standard traditional shapes that you want. And again, if you want to go off of just raw specs here, pound for pound, this is 2 times brighter than the industry standard for matte lights out there in the industry with all the fusion and kitting built in. Over here, you can see on the ceiling, again, we pointed to this before, this is the 20 by 20 INFINIMAT. One of the cool things about the INFINIMATs too is that they are fully pixel mappable as well too, which means that right now we are showing a design here. You can see that we're running through a simulate right now, a little bit of image-based lighting. You can see that we're actually running an image through our lights. Why does that matter? That matters because a lot of times when we're trying to light people, we're trying to recreate real light in the real world. And real light in the real world comes from a lot of different sources, right? We have a skylight, we have the sun, we have a tungsten light bulb, we have gas lanterns. Something like this means that we are not only able to project and take an image and video and run it through our actual display, think virtual production, and you now get interactive lighting, which we've seen in a lot of places, right? If we think about, I don't know, we think about Star Wars, we think about Obi-Wan Kenobi, a hologram appears. The light that's coming from that hologram needs to move in real time. Something like that can now be done with INFINIMATs. Something like that can now be done with the Aputure ecosystem. And if I want something like a sunset moving in time or a color chase sequence like that scene in Barbie, all that's accessible here as well too. So, last thing that we're talking about here before we wrap things up, we're talking about Sidus Link Pro. Number one, we like Aputure lights because one of the big things that we worked on since the beginning of the company was how do we make sure that all of our lights are not only easy to power and use in terms of the hardware, but also the software, right? So one of the biggest things that we made sure of many, many years ago was that every Aputure light that we had the actual Aputure Sidus Link chip built into the actual dongle, which means that all of your lights, when you turn them on, they're Aputure lights, they find each other, they build a wireless network. Your phone, when you turn it on, you open up Sidus Link, just taps into the closest light, and now all of your lights can be controlled via your phone. We love Sidus Link because it gives you console-level control, but it's super easy to do. It's super easy to network, right? If you want to set up a lighting console, you need to hire an IT networking person, you need to hire a console programmer, all of this. However, the console is also pretty useful too because up until now, there are some downsides to Bluetooth mesh, right? The downsides to Bluetooth mesh being that because it's Bluetooth, right, there can sometimes be some wireless stability controls. And the second thing is that when you actually want to control your lights and you're actually touching the fixture, there's a little bit of delay. And that's just because it's Bluetooth, that's the underlying technology. So with Sidus Link Pro, we get the best of both worlds. We just showed this at NAB, but again, NAB was only, 4 or 6 weeks ago. Sidus Link Pro, the beta is out now. What this does, this gives you the ability to have full Bluetooth mesh networking. You get all the benefits of Sidus Link because it's just as easy to use, but you now get instantaneous control through CRMX, and you get Wi-Fi level stability through Sidus One. So, for people out there that have been in between the lighting console and they think, oh, this is hard, I don't know if I want to learn this, or for the people out there that are console operators that want an easier, faster way to work things, you now not only get the benefits of the lighting console, but you also get Sidus Link built in as well, too. So this is being demonstrated right here by Dash right now. He's walking through, programming some stuff for us here today. But Dash, do you want to walk us through a couple of lighting changes? I'm putting him on the spot, by the way. He didn't know this was coming. Dash, so we got a set here. Can we have the entire set go daylight? 5600.
Want to release what we got going here? I have a daylight lip already built into a cube.
Oh.
I'm going to hit go. And what we have here is a daylight lip that I've recorded in YouTube. You can also see what I'm doing here up on the screen, so when we have a bigger crowd later today, they don't have to be looking over my shoulder.
So you saw how as soon as he touched that button, the entire set went daylight? That's that instantaneous key that we're talking about here. Can we get a color chase? Can you drag your finger? I want to see an HSI change.
I'm going to grab this INFINIBAT that's over.
Okay, sounds good.
And I'm going to give it a full saturation. I'll throw it full red.
Full red because we're at the Aputure booth. Now let's have it go full blue.
We're going to throw it over to blue.
And he's going to drag his finger. And can we get a drag around the color wheel just to see that? And you can see it's changing in real time as we go ahead here. Why, thank you, Dash. So you can see, we'll get a little close-up of here. This real quick shows you, again, all of your controls, just as you know, in Sidus Link. You get all that wireless networking that happens automatically through Bluetooth mesh, but you also get cues built in at the bottom here. So for people that don't know what that is, that's basically thinking about it. It's like actual action keys that can control your lights in real time. And you can set up, similar to like a non-linear editor, you can now set up lighting effects and changes built in here on all Sidus Link Pro as well, too. So you can start animating your light and creating any lighting effects that you want. So super excited about this. This comes, again, as a part of the Aputure ecosystem, full lighting control. Thanks, Dash. Appreciate it. Okay, sounds good. Now, the last thing that we're showing off here is we are showing off a Sidus Link display. There's actually a virtual demo here, so if you're at the booth, this means that one of the things you can see is you can see actually being able to control all of your lights in this virtual set live. So Ben is right here behind me. Ben's showing me real quick. There is, in this virtual set, a CS15, which is our point source RGB light just outside the window, 4 of them. And if I want to change my color on this 3D set, I can change all this here as well too. If I want to change my levels, I can change all that as well. But the main reason we're here doing this is because we're showing off Sidus Link Pro 1.1, right? We started the beta. The beta is open right now. If you want to download and start playing on Sidus Link, you can do all of that here on this set. You can start learning how to be, again, a console programmer through Sidus Link Pro. But we're showing off a couple of quick upgrades here as well, too. So, for example, a couple of UI, UX upgrades, things like if I go into Sidus Link now and I have multiple fixtures, again, the whole point is how can we remove the command line? How can we make things as easy as possible? If I say, hey, I like my INFINIMATs here, or I like my CS15,
Pause.
Yes, go for it. Thank you. Opening up some fixtures. Thanks, man. And if I want to grab a couple of these fixtures here and I say, I want these to be together, I can now drag and drop my fixtures on top of each other. They automatically make grips here. We also now have an open view here as well, too. So if I go here, you can now see all of your output views in terms of every single channel of DMX that you're outputting, and you can see every single level that is being put there. We built in a couple of UI UX updates. So again, for people out there that are using Sidus Link Pro, a couple of these updates are coming free of charge automatically. So start playing, start getting into there, and we'll be doing a couple more demos here at the booth if you're here at the show. But I think that's it. This is the Aputure booth at Cine Gear 2024. That is that assembly display that's going up there. It's making it beautiful. Come by if you're here in Los Angeles. Again, we're at the Warner Brothers lot. If you're not, tune in online on Instagram. Not only are we doing full tours of all the products, but we're also doing some games and giveaways as well too. I think Decon is like running around the Warner Brothers lot, pinning people or getting pinned by C47s. We're giving away a lot of products as well too. So if you're watching this, tune in, check it out, and of course, let us know if you have any comments. Casey, Tway, is there any one or two big comments to do real quick before?
Let me take out the phone.
Okay.
People are asking, when is the Pro II RGB ACL tech going to be used?
Ooh, that's a great question. Very soon. And I will say that a lot of the advancements that were done from the Pro II acquisition were built into the LSC 600C Pro. Basically, what that's allowed us to do is make that chip smaller, which is what gives you that better efficiency for the optics. So as far as the RGB ACL technology that goes, that will be coming out in a little bit, but I have to get back to it yet.
That's awesome. And I'm scrolling through some of the more questions.
And then two more, yeah.
I don't think there's... Are you at Cine Gear all weekend?
Oh, yes, we are at Cine Gear all weekend. We're in stage 19. That's a great question. Come by stage 19, you can't miss us.
Okay, awesome. And I think that's all the comments and questions I can see for now.
Sounds good. All right. Well, if you're watching this, thank you so much, Aputure family. We're here today. We lit Dune. We were doing a panel here with the Mandalorian. We're on the Warner Bros. Lot. This is a dream come true. It's very exciting to be here. And thank you so much for the support, and we'll catch you guys next time.